A lot of people are convinced that running a marathon is one of those bucket list items that they simply have to check off when it comes to their athletic history. At 26.2 miles and just over 42 kilometers, this likely 3+ hour endeavor is a very difficult task to complete. Not only do you have to stay on your feet for more than 3 hours, but you have to run a distance that most people don't even drive in their car for a full day. Running a marathon is not easy, and it's even harder to run it very fast. But you know what's even faster? Doubling that distance and still running one of the fastest paces that anyone has ever seen. Because that's exactly what one man from Lithuania just did. In a distance that only the truly crazy make a world record attempt at, Alexander Sorokin just ran a 100-kilometer race, attacking his own world record that he set last year. Now, this world record is kind of difficult to comprehend, so let me put it to you this way. For this race in 2022, Sorokin ran a time of 6 hours, 5 minutes, and 40 seconds. And this bafflingly long race was completed at an average pace under 6 minutes per mile. Now, for those of you that don't know how fast this is, I want to challenge you to go out to your local track and try to run 4 laps in under 6 minutes. The odds are that most of you can't do it. However, Alexander Sorokin, the Lithuanian legend, can do this longer than anyone else in the world. A few years ago, we made a video on Jim Walmsley, one of the more compelling and talented ultramarathon runners in the world, honestly. He made a 100-kilometer world record attempt, and at the time, he only fell 12 seconds away from the previous world record, with a time of 6 hours, 9 minutes, and 26 seconds. This was one of the more entertaining races that we had ever seen at the time, as he was paced by many of his professional teammates from Hoka. At one point, he actually sliced his left shoulder and was bleeding throughout the entire race. And then there was the dramatic straightaway ending, where it really looked like he was about to get that world record, but finishing only 12 seconds away did leave this race with a rather dramatic ending, and it did seem as though he had the ability to do it, but since that time, he had never made another world record attempt. However, the world didn't have to wait very long, because just 1 year later, Alexander Sorokin sweeped in like Superman, coming in hot, and 6 hours, 5 minutes, and 40 seconds was truly next level speed, because it took down the previous record by more than 3 minutes. Truly a masterclass in ultramarathon running. The thing about Sorokin is that his pace just stays so consistent, and he really does run significantly faster than anyone else when it comes to the ultramarathon circuit. In fact, if you're looking for anything from 100 kilometers up to a 24-hour run, Sorokin is your man, because he has a huge list of world record breakthroughs to his name. However, this 2023 100-kilometer endeavor was quite possibly the greatest race of his career, because the way that he ran this race showcases not just incredible pacing abilities, but it showcases the kind of determination that very few people have. So building up to this world record attempt through the halfway point, he was pretty much right on par with where he needed to be, pacing just under 5 minutes and 55 seconds per mile, which comes out to around 3:39 per kilometer. And as you can see in this video, he was still looking good. He was looking strong, he was upright, he was doing pretty solid considering that he had just run for 3 hours. And through the final stretch, he was falling just ever so slightly behind his previous world record. And as you can imagine, running for this long really does make your body hurt. You're feeling something that very few athletes will ever feel when it comes to running such a pace for such a long time. However, over the final stages of this 100-kilometer world record, which took him 61 laps of this small, tiny block to complete, he actually managed to push ahead and surge over the final stretch and beat his previous time by about 30 meters. Now, what's interesting is that on his Strava account, it actually says that he ran 104.2 kilometers, which would place him around 3 minutes and 30 seconds per kilometer, or 5:45 per mile. But this isn't necessarily true, because occasionally, when you're doing such a small lap for so long, you can get slightly off what the actual reality is. So even though he might have run a little bit longer, he certainly ran very fast throughout this entire thing. And either way, this ending stretch was truly impressive, because it showcased that even against his own time, he was willing to put his full body on the line and really break into something new. And it's amazing to think that someone can run for this long, that fast. To give you an idea just how fast this actually is, let's take a further breakdown into how fast he just ran this insane 100-kilometer world record. So with this kind of pace, each marathon that he ran comes out to 2 hours and 34 minutes, which means that each half marathon would be right around 1 hour and 17 minutes. If these two aren't already impressive enough, let's break it down into different categories once again. So for each 5K, he ran around 18 minutes and 11 seconds. For each 10K, that would put him around 36 minutes and 22 seconds. And the real kicker here that showcases how fast he was running was that for each 400 meters, he was averaging right around 1 minute and 27 seconds. That's actually the perfect way to look at this. If you go to your local track, try to run one lap in 1 minute and 27 seconds. Honestly, it is difficult to run this pace for even a mile, but Alexander Sorokin takes distance running abilities to a completely different level, and this really is one of the most impressive endurance athletes of all time. In fact, he is really approaching his ability, potentially, to be called the ultramarathon GOAT. And I know a lot of people see Yannis Kouros as this clear and evident GOAT, but ultramarathon running is getting a complete rewriting of the history books from Alexander Sorokin. These previous 3 years have been insane, and this is yet another world record for this incredible Lithuanian athlete. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, until next time. Also, this means that every 10 miles was 58 minutes and 30 seconds. This man is insane.